And welcome back. Today with me is Dr. Duna Rowe from NVISION, and we are talking about LASIK surgery. Welcome.
Thank you.
Nice to have you here today.
Thank you.
And LASIK surgery has been around for how many years now? 30?
Yes, it's been around for about 3 decades now.
Okay.
And it's one of the most common elective surgeries that is done around the world and in the United States. And it's a very liberating surgery for a lot of folks. There are a few reasons why somebody might want to consider LASIK.
Okay.
So the convenience of not having to wear glasses or contact lenses every day. Folks who are active, who want to do outdoor activities, working out, swimming, hiking, and they feel like glasses can get in the way, they can prevent them from wearing the sunglasses that they need, or just the hassle of having to wear a contact lens in every day is the major reason why folks consider LASIK. Another reason is cost. So glasses, the lenses that go in the glasses and contact lenses can get pretty costly year after year when you update your prescription or if you just need new contact lenses.
Okay.
Cumulatively, the cost of getting those over the years, it's actually more cost efficient for a patient to consider getting LASIK.
Okay.
The third reason is safety. So putting a contact lens in every day introduces a foreign body that you apply to the surface of your eye every day, and the risk of infection from wearing a contact lens every day over the course of a lifetime is actually 10 times higher than the risk of doing LASIK surgery and getting an infection.
Okay.
So it's a convenience, it's cosmetic, it's safer, and it's more cost effective.
Okay, let's look at some of these slides here, and you can kind of show us what happens with LASIK.
So the cornea is the very front part of the eye. That's the part of the eye that undergoes LASIK surgery. It's like the window to the eye. If you think of a watch, it's basically like the glass that's on the watch. You see through it, but you don't actually see it. And that's the part of the eye that we do LASIK surgery on. So it's just done right at the very, very superficial layers of the eye. There are several types of vision correction that can be done with LASIK. So on my next slide, I have a few conditions like nearsightedness, farsightedness, and astigmatism. So nearsightedness, the eyeball is a little bit longer than the normal eye, and that makes distance vision blurry. Hyperopia or farsightedness is the eye is actually a little bit shorter than the average eye, and those folks up close vision is blurry. Astigmatism is where the shape of the eye is a little bit different. So if an eye had 0 astigmatism, it would be shaped like a perfect basketball. But everybody's eye has a little bit of astigmatism or is shaped a little bit more like a football rather than a basketball. Presbyopia is the inability to see clear images up close, and that's because the lens loses its flexibility as we get older, and this is something that can develop in our 40s or our 50s.
So that is probably the most common at the bottom there.
Yes, correct. So everybody gets presbyopia at some point, and the other conditions are conditions that usually develop in our teen years or our early 20s and continue to develop over time. So all of these conditions can be corrected with LASIK.
Okay.
So LASIK is a procedure that basically changes the shape of the surface of the eye in order to correct all of those conditions, nearsightedness, farsightedness, and astigmatism. We basically create a very thin flap on the surface of the cornea, lift it up, and do a laser ablation. So I'll walk you through the step-by-step of how that procedure is done. So first, we use a laser. It's called the femtosecond laser that creates that cut of the flap on the surface of the cornea. And so think of the cornea.
So let's go to the next slide. Has that? Okay.
So think of the cornea like it's a book, and we basically need to open the cover of that book, and that's the creation of the flap. So we use a laser in order to cut that flap and open the cover of the book. The next step is to actually do a laser ablation where we reshape with the laser. So that part is done with a second type of laser called the excimer laser. And according to what your eye's prescription is, we can remove tissue. So think of it like we're removing pages from that book in order to correct the eye's prescription. So when somebody comes in, we clean the eye, we numb it up, The surgery itself takes about 10 minutes. The patient lies down on a flat bed. During the surgery, they feel a little bit of pressure on their eye. They feel some eye drops, but the procedure is absolutely painless.
Okay.
And after 10 minutes, it's all done. They just go home, and we want them to just go to sleep that first day to allow that flap to seal nicely. And the next morning when they wake up, their vision should be fantastic, and they can drive themselves to their follow-up appointment without their glasses.
Okay.
There are a couple of ways of creating the flap. So the older way of doing it was using the microkeratome blade.
Yes.
It's basically a blade that went over the surface of the eye. I call it sometimes like a lawnmower that's going over the surface of the eye to cut the flap. We don't do that at our practice anymore, and instead we use a laser. As you can imagine, the laser is safer, it's more precise, it's computer operator, and it's more predictable compared with the lawnmower device. So overall, it's much safer and allows us to make the beautiful flaps absolutely to the exact depth that we want. The laser that we have in our office is called the Zemer. It's 100 times faster than other lasers, and it's more precise, and it cuts beautiful, smooth flaps. The recovery is very quick, and the cornea heals very well without a lot of inflammation. And using this laser has really allowed us to have that perfect outcome that we want for our patients. So moving on to the next slide, after that flap has been cut using the laser, we lift that flap up, and then on step 4 on the next slide, we reshape with the laser. So using the excimer laser, according to the prescription, whether it's farsighted, nearsighted, or astigmatism, we can remove tissue from the cornea. And then the very last step is we close that protective flap that we created. It's like putting the cover of the book back on the surface of the eye.
Okay. Let me ask you a few questions along with this. You know, years ago, you would hear some people would get LASIK and they see stars, the star pattern. So has that been eliminated? What is the risk? And also, along with that, do people have to go in 10 years later because their eye changes shape again?
Our technology has evolved tremendously. So with the older platforms of the LASIK, it was a lot more common to get glare and halos. And we have learned over the years that with improved laser technology and with better patient selection, so folks who have abnormally sized pupils that are really large, or if they have certain aberrations on the surface of the cornea, we can now do LASIK and significantly reduce the possibility of glare and halos developing. In addition, there is an even newer technology that just came out a few years ago. It's basically a topography-guided LASIK, which is a very customizable LASIK to the surface of the eye. So the surface of the eye has little hills and valleys. Those hills and valleys are microscopic. We don't see them when we examine in the eye, but we have very advanced imaging devices now that can measure those hills and valleys. The most common way to do LASIK right now, the Wavefront Optimized, we basically get an average of all of those hills and valleys, and we do a laser treatment that corrects an average of all of those. Patients get excellent, great outcomes with this. They have 20/20 vision afterwards. But with the new technology that's called Contura or topography guided, instead of getting an average of all of those hills and valleys, we actually treat every single individual hill and valley. It is so highly customized. And that has basically eliminated glare and halos because it's so effective and so customizable to each patient's eye.
Okay, and then again, what happens 10 years later? Or whatever it might be.
One of the criteria in order to be a good LASIK candidate is we want to make sure that your prescription has been stable for at least 1 year. So when I see a patient for a consultation, I review not only their current prescription, but also the history of their prescriptions to make sure that their eye is not still changing. When we feel that the eye is stable, then we recommend LASIK surgery. Now, 10, 15 years down the line, it is possible that the prescription may change. So just like how somebody may need an update of their glasses at some point, they may need a LASIK touch-up. The chances of that are really low. They are less than 10%. And if they need an enhancement, at least in our practice, we give you a lifetime guarantee. So if there is a change in the prescription, we will take care of doing that LASIK touch-up. And again, it's a 10-minute procedure, just like the original LASIK, and we cover the cost of it.
And as far as candidates go, what about somebody like myself? I buy the cheap reading glasses. And of course, over time, you know, I find myself wearing my glasses now at home to watch TV.
Yeah.
Not that it's blurry, it just helps.
Makes it crisper.
It just makes it a little bit crisper.
Yeah.
And I think one of the biggest hassles is you're in your car, I can see fine, the road, and then you look down at, you know, your infotainment screen and trying to scroll through whatever you're trying to do. You know, it's hard enough while you're driving, but a lot of times I'll have to put my glasses on really quick just to look at that.
Yeah.
Now, is that something where LASIK could help?
Absolutely. So what we can do with LASIK for folks who have difficulty seeing both far away and up close is something called monovision. So we correct one eye and that's typically the dominant eye, that would become perfect vision for far away. The other eye, the non-dominant eye, we correct it so that it gives you better intermediate and up-close vision. We do a test in the office to make sure that you're a good candidate for this, in addition to all the routine standard tests we do to make sure you're a good LASIK candidate. If you're able to tolerate this monovision, using your eyes for both far away and up close with monovision, one eye distance, one eye up close, then we can do LASIK surgery with that correction. And patients are thrilled with this option because now they don't have to wear the glasses far away or up close, and they have the optimal vision at all distances.
No, one eye seeing differently, what happens? The brain just corrects it?
Exactly.
Okay.
So naturally, we have a little bit of monovision where we have one eye that's more dominant.
Okay.
So it's really just augmenting something that we naturally have, where we just strengthen that distance eye and give you the near vision with the non-dominant eye.
Okay, all right. Now, you mentioned people going in and, this is what the recovery time.
Yeah, let's go over that
and
too.
You said it doesn't really take very long.
Yeah, so as I mentioned, it's a 10-minute surgery and it's done in our office. It's not done at a surgery center. Patients typically take a pill of Xanax beforehand that just takes the edge off because everybody's a little bit nervous, but otherwise there's no more extensive anesthesia. We numb up the eye really well, and then as I mentioned initially, the patient just goes home and sleeps for that first day. So we do need the patient to bring a driver for the day of surgery to take them home afterwards. And the next day, they can resume their normal activities, including going back to work. The only couple of restrictions really are for women, no makeup for 1 week, just because we don't want any irritants to the surface of the eye, and also no swimming for 2 weeks. But otherwise, basically the next day, a patient who has LASIK can go back to work and resume their normal activities.
Okay, and the one other question, because we've mentioned this before, if somebody, depending on their age, you know, they may have cataracts later on, how does that affect that?
So during the LASIK consultation, we do a full eye exam. It also includes, during the preoperative planning, a dilated eye exam in order to examine the lens and make sure that there are no signs of cataracts. If there are signs of cataracts, then that person may be a better candidate for lens replacement surgery or cataract surgery. Because if they get LASIK done when they have moderate cataracts that are ready for surgery, the cataract changes the eye's prescription. So a year or two later, that person may be back in our chair saying, I need a LASIK touch-up, when it's really the cataracts that have gotten worse. So that's why it's so important to get that full exam prior to LASIK, which we will do to make sure that somebody doesn't have early signs of cataracts. And if they have cataracts, then we will shift them more towards lens replacement surgery rather than LASIK.
All right. And the other question is that would this be considered LASIK cosmetic surgery, meaning it's not covered by most insurance, or it is, or it just depends?
In general, LASIK is not covered by insurance, and some insurances, some vision plans offer rebates or discounts. A lot of employers now actually offer coverage for LASIK for their employees, at least partially. So it's becoming more and more popular, and coverage sometimes is possible for them, but for the most part, it is an elective, out-of-pocket procedure. Because
they can say, just go get glasses.
Exactly, exactly.
All right, very good. Good information. I appreciate it.
Thank
you. And, you know, if you're interested, you can find out if you're a candidate for it. That's that's the first step, right?
Yeah, it's a short visit, typically takes about an hour to an hour and 30 minutes.
Okay.
We do a topography map to make sure that the surface of the eye is regular, we make sure that the cornea has normal thickness, and we make sure that the eye overall has no other pathology. And if somebody is a good LASIK candidate, we have them come back for a dilated exam and proceed with the planning.
All right. Thank you very much, Doctor. Good to see you.
Thank you very much. Good to see you too.
We'll be right back.